I love this franchise, bro. I like Ryan Coogler's work. He killing it out here, bro. And even when you took everything off his plate and almost left him with nothing, he still gave you a freaking family feast. Took everything off his plate, put him in a corner, everything gone, had to work with nothing and a heavy heart, and he still came out with this. How, bruh?
Last night, the most curious looking film on everybody's radar, Black Panther Wakanda Forever premiered. So today I thought it was time for me to stop and talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Please know that everything that I will say in this video is just my very own opinion. My name is SW Nation, and you are free to comment down below your very own opinion on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Comment all of that down below in the comment section. Of course, please don't forget to check out that Twitter. That's going to pop up on your screen right now. And also that Marvel Playlist. That link is in the description. I went to go see Black Panther Wakanda Forever with my friends last night. Euphoric. Incredible, euphoric, grieving experience. With all of that out of the way, with that being said, let's get right into our review.
Show them who we are.
I think we were all pretty curious about how this film was going to turn out because they were dealt such a bad hand. But with that being said, let's move right into the good. And the good thing that comes to mind here is that Ryan Coogler does it again. With the tragic passing of Mr. Chadwick Boseman, he was dealt such a bad hand. It's incredible how he handles that loss and grief and ropes it into the plot and theme of this movie. T'Challa's death, Chadwick Boseman's death, has a presence on the entire film from the moment it starts. I loved it. I loved all of it. Even when you gave him nothing to work with, he lost his lead character, he lost his main actor. Even when you gave him nothing but a release date, he still delivered on a beast of a film. I loved it. I loved this movie. Now, it's no secret that Letitia Wright Shuri was going to be put as the lead, and as someone who's lukewarm on Shuri in the MCU, I gotta say I loved her in this movie. I gotta say, come on, she was so cool inside of this movie. She was a beast inside of this movie. In every other movie, you know, she's obviously the comedic relief. She's also the smart character, the snarky one. She's put in the lead, and you love her. It shows that Letitia Wright can actually act. Now, I'm pretty sure she's been in other films before. She has had another film that came out on Peacock this year. I have not seen it, but I know of it. And she can act, man. And wow, it's such a powerful performance. It's so good in this movie. She was awesome in this. Like, I can't like fathom like how like inside words like how fantastic she was. In addition to that, all of the performances were phenomenal. Angela Bassett, incredible. As you can imagine, there was a scene inside of this movie, actually twice, that gave me chills. I had literal chills listening to her. And my theater was packed. In the two scenes that I said I had chills in, nobody laughed, nobody applauded, nobody cheered, nothing. Dead silence, so you can hear the emotion in her voice. I think she's gonna win an award for this role. Not for this role, but for this performance in this movie, because she did a phenomenal job. I have no notes on Angela Bassett's acting, and as you can imagine, she's one of the veteran actors. Obviously, she's great, but in this film, she's amazing. She's incredible. Like, I've seen her in so many other movies, but I really loved her part inside of this movie as a grieving mother, as someone who's lost her son, as someone who's lost her husband, all in the span of 10 years. Incredible. She lost her son twice. From the snap of Thanos, which they do kind of reference here, but from the snap of Thanos and from this illness, I loved all of it. Like, there's no secret that T'Challa is dead. They showed that in the trailers. Just scenes where characters are crying moved me. And just, you can see the pain in their faces, because you can tell that they're all feeling the grief of their friend, but also that they wanted to make this project the best that it could be. For most of Phase 4, I have been fatigued of the MCU, mainly from Disney Plus, because it's just been the same comedy schlock every time. It's always a comedy. I gotta say, the first time I saw Love and Thunder, it kind of broke me. And then we were moving into She-Hulk, and then it's just not funny. And I felt like I was getting a little bit fatigued of the MCU. Going inside of this movie, I knew that I was going to kind of like it because I love the franchise. I love Ryan Coogler's work. It seemed like they were heading in the right direction from the trailers. The trailers looked fantastic. And they delivered. They delivered on what I wanted, and that was more dramatic stuff. We've seen so much comedy over the past 2 years of Marvel that it's kind of rewarding to see some actual drama in the MCU. Some actual serious, mature themes. And as the first Black Panther being the most mature MCU film, this is right up there. This is literally number 2 as the most mature MCU film. Ryan Coogler does it again. We also got to talk about our newcomers inside of the MCU here, Namor and Ironheart. Dominique Thorne as Ironheart was one of the standouts inside of this film. I was not excited for her show after this film. I am ecstatic to see her show. I loved her performance in this movie. Like I said, all of the performances were phenomenal. Dominique Thorne's performance as Ironheart, I was kind of skeptical about how they were going to do this character. She talks just like some random girl that I have at my school. Like, she talks like the people that I hang out with. I am black, so I did kind of understand a little bit of the vernacular that she uses inside of the film. But Dominique Thorne as Ironheart, I gotta say, I have no notes on that neither. She was serious when she needed to be. She was funny when she needed to be. She knew her place inside of the movie. They didn't use her too much. They didn't try to put her in a place where she didn't belong. But going into Namor, our antagonist. Namor is cool as hell. Damn good antagonist. I loved Namor, okay? I thought he was cold. Every time he got on screen, I was like, he is cold. And including his action sequences, he just looked good. His motivations make sense. You care about the character. You care about what he's going for. And you can actually see his point. He's just not going about it the right way. And I like the fact that they put Shuri in the forefront because obviously T'Challa was going to be that character. But Shuri is just as capable and as qualified as T'Challa to be this character that sees the villain's point of view, but knows that they can't go along with how they're doing it. It's the same character arc with Sam from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They made Namor menacing, but they also made him sympathetic, and you can understand him. And like I said, Namor's action scenes were pretty cool. And I gotta say, the action when it happens was pretty great. The CGI wasn't noticeable, like how Thor Love and Thunder or even Multiverse of Madness a little bit. One action scene that I really remember was in Wakanda. And that's another positive, is that we get to see more of Wakanda. That was one of my negatives of the first film. It was that we didn't get to see most of Wakanda. We got to see some scenes of it, but they treat Wakanda as a character, and it has a presence inside of this film. Because Wakanda and Namor's home, Talokan, are basically the same. And that's what relates the villain to Shuri, the hero. This movie feels like it was made by a singular creative. The story feels cohesive and relevant to today's times. The villain you can relate to. Shuri being put to the forefront. Excellent choice. Ryan Coogler made it work, and he even added in some jokes so it wasn't just all dramatic. He made it funny when it needed to be. He made it serious when it needed to be. All of it hit home for me. This is just a cohesive, perfect movie. I wouldn't say perfect as in it has no flaws, but the triumphant return of the Black Panther is so poised and profound. It's one that needs to be seen on the big screen. I have no notes. This movie, all around great. But I do have a few little observations here. So with that being said, let's move right into the mix. And the mix scene that comes to mind here is that there's nothing bad about this movie I can think of as of right now. I have only nitpicks and observations. Shuri so suddenly being able to fight doesn't make sense to me because her place is in the lab. That's what they established her character as. They established her character as somebody who wants to stay in the lab. And I'm glad for the most part in this movie, they honored that. They really honored that. Like, I was hoping I was going to go into this movie thinking that they're going to have a training montage and that she's just going to know how to fight right off the bat. No. For the most of the movie, she stays the same as she was in the movies previously that we've seen for her. She scoffs at tradition. She doesn't do the traditional things. I love that. And in fact, she did that at the end of this movie too. Everything about Shuri was still right in line with the character. Just the extra added bonus that she can fight like T'Challa now. And, you know, I can let that slide. The movie was so good that I actually let one of my fears, the biggest fear that I had going inside this movie, slide right through. The action is great when it happens, like I said, but it's not an action-filled movie. Definitely an action film, but there's mostly talking scenes. They talk about grief. They talk about T'Challa's legacy. And speaking of T'Challa's legacy, obviously they did not choose to recast T'Challa. I feel like that was a mistake, but in terms of the movie, I understand why they didn't do it. And for everyone else, I wouldn't know how Ryan Coogler or Kevin Feige or even the cast and crew would react to even remotely thinking about recasting the character. It's his character, it's his role. I understand that. I just believe that they should have recasted it. But who cares what I believe, because I've already seen the movie, and I think they did the best that they could do. And the best that they could do was excellent. This was amazing. This movie is also the second longest MCU film, right underneath Endgame, and I did not once feel the runtime at all. When it ended, I was like, oh, please don't end. Please don't end. I wanted some more. Please don't end. And I also expected the ball-out cry. Newsflash, I didn't, but I did shed a little bit of tears, and I did feel a little bit emotional. And also, there's a couple of cameos in here. Yeah, there's like one post-credit scene, of course, but all of it means something. It's not just cameos just for the sake of cameos. This whole movie I loved, man. As of right now, I have no notes or negatives. In conclusion, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is a film that was dealt such a tragic hand. But thanks to Ryan Coogler and the cast, they delivered on an epic, huge sequel that continues the themes of the first, while also being more dramatic and more emotional. This is exactly why I love this franchise. They didn't make this a joke. They played it with class, delicacy, and elegance. It's what I missed from the MCU. I don't know what I could give this score on a number scale. It's definitely 9.8 to 10. It's not a perfect movie, so it's not 10 out of 10. I would say it's a 9.9, right there in the middle. A 9.9 out of 10. Really right there above the 9.8 for me. I wouldn't say it's cracking 10 out of 10. I really don't give movies 10 out of 10s unless I've seen them multiple times. Like, if I would have saw this a second time before I did this review, might have been a 10 out of 10 because I might have seen something differently. But as of right now, I'm going to give it a 9.9 out of 10. I desperately want to see this movie again. I desperately want to take more people to see this movie again. I saw this movie last night. It wasn't an experience like No Way Home where everybody was coming there just to cheer and clap. No, we all came here to lament and to remember Chadwick's legacy and to just show up for this film. Like I said, 9.9 out of 10, A+. Maybe it's the height, but definitely see this amazing film. I have no more notes. I love this movie. Alright guys, that is it for the review. Please know that everything that I did say in this video was just my very own opinion, and you are free to comment down below. What did you think of Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Please don't forget to check out that Twitter that's going to pop up on your screen right now, and also that Marvel playlist. That link is always in the description, as well as in the card up above if I put it up there. Also, there was another thing that I should have touched on in mixed, or probably had a bad section for it. The middle half of the movie is a little bit slow. I love the introduction to Talocan, but the second act was a little bit slow to me. But like, again, no notes. Love this movie. Everyone has to see it for themselves. Please don't forget to come back later for all MCU Phase 4 movies ranked. With that being said, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Peace.